Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're cracking open a really influential book. For a lot of people, it was a pivotal guide in rethinking their whole approach to money, wealth, and what financial independence actually looks like. It's Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, co-authored with Sharon Lechter, first out in '97. And this isn't just like another personal finance book. It's pretty foundational. It challenges almost all the conventional wisdom we get taught about success, about security. Kiyosaki uses this powerful comparison, right? His two dads. One was highly educated but struggled financially. The other, a self-made entrepreneur, huge financial wisdom, but not in the traditional sense. So, our mission today, let's dig into the core ideas, pull out those surprising facts maybe, and help you understand what building lasting wealth really means according to this book, even now.
Oh yeah, it's definitely endured for a reason. What's so compelling, I think, is how it offers this shortcut. A shortcut to understanding basic financial principles that, frankly, you just don't usually get taught in school. This book doesn't just give tips, it tries to give you a whole new framework for thinking about money, and, crucially, how to make it work for you. It's a really profound mindset shift that, yeah, still resonates.
That mindset shift seems to be right at the heart of it. So, okay, let's unpack that central idea, the anchor for the whole book. Kiyosaki learned about money from these two really different figures. On one side, there's his poor dad. That was his actual father. Brilliant guy, highly educated, PhD. But despite all that academic success, prestigious career in education, he struggled with money consistently. His philosophy was that traditional path, go to school, get a safe job, work hard for that paycheck, climb the ladder, and definitely avoid risks. Job security was everything.
Security first, and then you get the complete contrast. Rich dad. This was his best friend's father. Super successful entrepreneur, builds an empire, basically from scratch, very little formal schooling. And Rich Dad's view, almost the total opposite. Learn how money really works. Focus on building actual assets. Take risks, but wisely.
Wisely, yeah. Calculated risks.
Exactly, based on knowledge, preparation, and the big one. Let money work for you instead of you always working for money. It's not just about earning differently. It's a fundamental shift in your whole financial view, moving from just security to seeking real opportunity, which does raise a big question for everyone, doesn't it? What kind of education really gets you ready for the financial world today?
That is a powerful question. And Kiyosaki's answer is pretty provocative. He basically says traditional schools, they miss the mark completely on financial literacy. We learn calculus, history, biology maybe, but rarely how to manage or, grow the money we spend our lives earning. What are the key things he says are missing? And what are the real-world results of that gap for most people?
Yeah, it's a huge blind spot, he points out. Kiyosaki argues that, well, traditional education trains us mostly to be good employees, follow instructions, find stable jobs. But it doesn't usually teach us how to read financial statements, understand taxes properly, the power of investing, or, how to build a business. And the consequence of missing that foundation, it's profound. Without it, even people earning really high incomes can find themselves stuck. They make good money, but they're just caught in this cycle. Earn, spend, often get into debt, always chasing the next paycheck.
The rat race.
Exactly, what he famously calls the rat race. So financial literacy, in his view, it's not just about budgeting what you have now. It's understanding the whole money ecosystem, making it, managing it, protecting it, and most importantly, investing it strategically so it works for you, so it grows instead of you always having to work for it.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting for me, and I think for many readers, this is the absolute game changer. Kiyosaki draws this core distinction that can just totally redefine how you view every financial move. Assets versus liabilities. Can you break down what he means by each? And then maybe what's the really impactful insight beyond just the definitions?
Absolutely. And his definitions are, well, they seem simple, but they're incredibly powerful. He just states it flat out. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. Think about that. A rental property bringing in rent checks, stock paying dividends, a business making profit, intellectual property earning royalties. These things actively generate cash flow into your life.
So it's not just owning something valuable. It's specifically about whether it generates income. That clarity alone is a huge shift.
Precisely. And then the flip side, a liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. Okay, so obvious things. Credit card debt, car loans, student loans, and this is where he often challenges people and starts debates. He also includes things like fancy cars that just depreciate and cost money to maintain, and most notably, your own home, your primary residence, and the mortgage that comes with it. He classifies that as a liability.
Right, that point about the house, the mortgage being a liability,
Right.
that really raises eyebrows. especially when homeownership is pushed so hard as, the cornerstone of wealth building, the American dream.
Yeah.
Can you maybe elaborate on why he takes that stance? Because it does trip people up.
It's a really critical nuance, and yeah, it causes friction. Kiyosaki isn't necessarily saying don't buy a house to live in. His point is purely about cash flow. How does the money move? Even if your house goes up in market value over 20 years, the monthly outflow for the mortgage, the property taxes, insurance, repairs, that takes money out of your pocket every single month.
It's an ongoing expense.
It's an ongoing expense. He draws a very sharp line between that primary residence, which costs you money, and, say, an investment property that you rent out. That property, generating rent, is an asset because it puts money in your pocket. He's really pushing us to look past the sentiment, the social pressure, the status symbol idea, and focus just on the cold, hard financial flow. Does it make you money, or does it cost you money? That simple perspective shift is often the big aha moment. It forces you to reevaluate everything you thought was building wealth on your personal balance sheet.
And that makes perfect sense out of his quote. It's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep.
Mm-hmm.
This asset liability distinction is just absolutely key to keeping more and ultimately building real wealth. It reframes everything, showing that how you earn and especially what you do with the money matters way more than the gross number on your paycheck. And that thinking, it extends to why you work, doesn't it? Leading to another big idea, challenging the focus on just chasing bigger salaries.
That's exactly right. The Rich Dad philosophy is crystal clear. Work to learn, not just to earn. So instead of only aiming for the job with the highest starting pay, focus on getting jobs or experiences where you acquire valuable, transferable skills. Skills that build your financial intelligence over time. The book points out key ones. Sales, learning to communicate, persuade, negotiate. Crucial. Investing, understanding how to make your money grow. Leadership needed to build teams, businesses, and accounting, really understanding the numbers, the financial statements that drive everything. These aren't just job skills, they're life skills. They let you build value and create income way beyond a salary. Makes you adaptable too.
So, okay, if your focus shifts from just the paycheck to learning these skills, what does that actually mean for building long-term financial freedom? Does it suggest a totally different kind of career path, maybe?
Oh, it absolutely does. The book is pretty strong on entrepreneurship. It argues that working for someone else, while it feels secure, inherently limits your financial freedom. You're essentially trading your time for money, right? And your income potential is usually capped by a salary, an hourly wage. It depends on someone else's business. The real path to independence, according to Rich Dad, building your own businesses, making smart investments, developing passive income streams. That way, your income potential can become, well, virtually limitless. It's tied to the value you create, the systems you build, not just the hours you clock in for somebody else.
But that sounds like it involves taking on a lot of risk, which, most of us are taught to avoid, like the plague. How does the book handle that, especially for someone who feels really nervous about stepping off that traditional safe path?
Yeah, it tackles risk head on, and it challenges that conventional wisdom. Kiyosaki's argument is that risk isn't something to just avoid. Risk is actually reduced by knowledge and preparation. The Rich Dad view suggests the biggest risk isn't trying something new, it's staying ignorant about how money works. If you truly understand an investment, if you've done the homework, developed the skills, you can take calculated risks.
Calculated risks.
Calculated risks with a much better chance of success. It's the difference between, say, blindly gambling in the stock market versus strategically investing based on research. Even starting a small side business, learning sales. Even if that specific business fails, you learn things that reduce your risk on the next try. It's a total contrast to that common fear of risk, which often keeps people trapped in. Well, what the book calls the rat race.
Yeah, that image, the rat race, it's so vivid, so relatable for so many people. Okay, so for someone feeling stuck in that loop, working hard, making more, but somehow spending even more, what's the very first practical step Kiyosaki suggests to break free? Is it like a giant leap or small steps?
Well, he makes it clear escaping the rat race isn't necessarily one giant leap overnight, though it definitely needs a big mindset shift first. Remember, the rat race describes how most people operate. Work hard, earn more, then lifestyle inflation kicks in, spending goes up, often taking on more liabilities, more debt, just stuck.
Chasing your tail.
Exactly.
Right.
Chasing your tail, never getting ahead financially. To escape, The book lays out a clear, consistent strategy. You have to diligently, consciously work to minimize your liabilities, those things taking money out, and at the same time, aggressively increase your assets, the things putting money in. And here's the crucial part. You have to reinvest the income from those assets back into buying even more assets. That creates this powerful compounding effect. The money your first assets make gets put back to work to make even more money. It snowballs your wealth over time, money making money. Almost on autopilot once the system's going. It's gradual, yes, but incredibly powerful.
And that really drives home that quote you hear everywhere from the book: the poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them. It's such a stark, clear picture of that core difference. Like they're playing completely different games with different rules. And speaking of different rules, there's another layer in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Less obvious maybe, but really crucial. It's about how the wealthy understand and use systems that most people are barely aware of. It's not just earning or investing, it's understanding the whole financial ecosystem. Kiyosaki often talks about how the wealthy play by different financial rules, or at least they get the rules better. What are some of these systems he points to?
Yeah, this is where the real strategic edge comes in, and it's often missed. Kiyosaki talks quite a bit about how corporations and, importantly, tax codes are structured and how the wealthy use them. Think about the average employee, right? You earn income, then the government takes taxes out before you even see it.
Yeah, paycheck deductions.
Exactly. Then, with what's left, you pay all your expenses. But for a business owner, especially if they operate through a corporation, the sequence is often flipped. They can often pay legitimate business expenses first, deducting them from the business's revenue, and then pay taxes on whatever profit is left over.
Wow, that is a powerful difference. So it's not about illegal tax evasion, obviously. It's about legally structuring things to align with the rules that already exist for business owners. Basically, keeping more of what the business earns to fuel more asset growth. It sounds like understanding that structure is a huge lever.
It's exactly that. It's about playing the game smart. Understanding that the rules, yeah, they might seem complex, but they can work for you if you learn them, instead of just letting them work against you by default because you don't know them. The wealthy use corporations not just for, legal protection, but as financial tools to buy assets, manage expenses, and generate wealth more efficiently, often minimizing or deferring taxes in ways that individuals just can't. It really boils down to building a financial framework that strategically supports your goals, rather than just reacting passively to the system as it's handed to you.
Wow, okay, what a genuinely insightful deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Let's just quickly recap some of these core lessons, because they can really transform your financial thinking. First, financial education, not optional, it's the foundation, and yeah, often missing from school. Second, relentlessly focus on buying assets, things putting money in your pocket, and slash those liabilities taking money out. Third, shift your work mindset. Work to learn valuable skills, not just for the paycheck, because skills build real long-term value. Fourth, think entrepreneurship, building passive income. A job can limit you. Businesses and investments can liberate you. Fifth, learn about taxes, corporations, financial systems. Understand the rules so you can use them effectively. And finally, actively work to get out of that rat race. Minimize liabilities, boost assets, and reinvest for that compounding magic. Ultimately, I think the really profound message here is that your mindset pretty much determines your financial future. It boils down to the choices you make every day based on how you think about money, risk, and opportunity. It really challenges all of us to grab the reins of our own financial education and, our future.
Absolutely. And maybe to leave you with one last provocative thought from Kiyosaki, he says, the single most powerful asset we all have is our mind. If it is trained well, it can create enormous wealth. Which raises that important question for every single listener. How are you training your mind for your financial future? Are you focused on getting assets, or are you still maybe stuck accumulating liabilities? Are you working mainly to learn or just to earn? And are you starting to understand the real rules of the financial game?
Exactly. Definitely some things to chew on. Take some time to reflect on your own definitions of assets and liabilities. Think about where your focus really lies. And perhaps, how you might start to re-educate your own financial mind. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We really hope it sparks some powerful ideas for your own journey. We'll see you next time.